Hi, I'm Carla. I have Marianne joining me today, our next also. Today's class is a gentle class where we're working a little bit with flexibility as well as mobility of the hips. We're starting the class in Virasana. Virasana is when you sit with your buttocks on your heels, your feet are together. Virasana, you take the knees apart and you're sitting in between the 2 feet. Now, if you're unable to sit flat, as most of us aren't, or especially if it's new practice to you, you'll sit on a brick. You can also take a few folded blankets to sit on. If the front extension of the front ankle is quite sore, if your knees and your ankles struggle with this pose, then absolutely stack up a couple of blankets. It gives softness for the knees. It also will give you a little bit of height so that your toes can fall off the edge if that's what you require. We're not using too many props today. Some blankets will be useful, the blocks also, and let us begin. So in Virasana, you have your knees together, your toes coming apart so that you can sit neatly between the 2 feet. The outer thighs need to descend and the abdomen has to lift. Keeping your hands on your thighs for a moment just to quieten the thighs. Stretch up through the sides of the body. You want to roll the front shoulder back to get a lovely openness in the collarbones across the chest and bring the hands together in the prayer position. On an exhalation, let the eyes close. Take a nice full breath in, quiet, peaceful breath out, and just being with the breath, lifting the spine, opening the chest on the inhalations, finding a quietness in the shoulders, a release of the thighs on the exhalation. We'll just begin with the 3 Oms to prepare us for our practice. On an exhalation, drop your head down. Taking a moment here to salute the divinity within. On the next breath out, you can release your hands onto your lap, lift your head up. If you need to release, you can come up onto all fours and stretch one leg out at a time. However, if your knees are fine, ankles are fine, we're coming straight into Adho Mukha Virasana. So to the back of your mat, you're taking your toes together. Your knees are apart. So in Virasana, the knees are together, the toes are apart. In Adho Mukha Virasana, your toes are together, your knees are apart. And you just want sufficient space between the 2 thighs so that this cushy inner thigh will support the sides of your body. From here, just bring your fingertips in front of your knees, ground the buttocks down and lift the breastbone because you want this extension in the front body. And then releasing forward, come to the full Adho Mukha Virasana. In Adho Mukha Virasana, keep the hands shoulder distance apart because we are coming to Adho Mukha Svanasana. As you extend the hands forward, you want to press into the hands and also resist the buttocks and the thighs back. So Marianne's doing a good job of keeping her buttocks onto her heels. But if you're unable to, just keep working at it. And if you plan to stay here for long, you can possibly take a blanket between the buttocks and the heels. With this full extension of the body, prepare the hands, connect the hands to the floor, come up onto all fours without moving the distance between the knees and the hands, then turning the toes under, you're going to lift into Adho Mukha Svanasana. The first Adho Mukha Svanasana of your practice, don't be too hasty to get to the full pose. Let go your head, keep the arms strong, keep the leg muscles firm. If you're able to straighten the knees, do so. And then keeping the back of the neck long, extend the sides of the body by lifting through the center, back leg, lifting the front thigh back. From here, we come into Adho Mukha Virasana. So again, knees to the floor, knees wide, toes together, and just rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. If at any point in today's practice, you need to release a little bit, come to this Adho Mukha Virasana position, stay here as long as you need. We're coming now to Adho Mukha Svanasana again, downward facing dog. And in this Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to do a few leg raises. So have a look. First, you're going to take your feet together. You need to make sure there's space behind you. Then we're lifting one leg. As you lift the one leg, you're keeping the hips level, so your leg might not go very high. And then I'll ask you to allow that leg to just swing up. You're going to let the hips open, just find some freedom as you take that leg up. So placing that foot back down, Marianne, thanks. Just maybe walk forward a little bit on the mat. And we're coming to Adho Mukha Svanasana. In downward dog, generally the feet are apart. Because we're lifting the legs up, bring them slightly closer together or together completely. Keep this body shape of downward facing dog. So don't let the shoulders come forward over the hands. And now lift up your right leg. As you lift your right leg, you want the knee and the toes pointing to the floor. So keep the right inner thigh rolling up. And this left outer hip has to really work at lifting to keep the sacrum and the buttocks level. When you've been there for a few breaths, allow yourself the freedom of opening the hips and extending that leg right up, split the legs apart in a very carefree, freeing manner, and then bring the leg down. Coming back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, if you have the strength, or Adho Mukha Virasana if you need to, compose yourself here. When you're ready, lift up the left leg, lifting the left inner thigh. To keep the hips level, the right outer hip must lift. To keep the left leg facing the floor completely, it's the left inner thigh that rolls up. Then when you're ready, again, just let that leg lift, let the hips open up, just feel that delicious stretch. Try not to kick the leg too far back so you don't throw yourself off course. And then come back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, releasing in Adho Mukha Virasana. So at any point, release. In a restorative pose, because we are still doing more Adho Mukha Svanasana, let the forearms rest on the floor. So with the elbows bent slightly, the elbows and the forearms resting on the floor, this becomes a far more restorative pose. And then when you're ready, we're going to prepare to come back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. This time though, we are going to be doing lunges. So if you're unable to do the lunge, easily have your set of bricks somewhere near the front of your mat. And when you're ready, from Adho Mukha Virasana, come into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Once again, the feet are hip distance apart. And although your distance is correct, you could probably take your feet a little bit back. So don't make your dog very little. You want a nice spread dog. From this Adho Mukha Svanasana, on an exhalation, using momentum, you're going to bring that right foot in between your two thumbs into a lunge. We're working into Anjaneyasana. Anjaneyasana, you drop the hips down so that you get a full extension of this back leg. If you need a blanket for under the knee, you're going to place a blanket on your mat to support the knee as you take the knee to the ground. If you don't need the knee support, then just work straight on your mat. You want it, Mr. Arun? Okay. Yeah. So from here, the shin becomes the foot of the pose. You keep the buttocks down, and then you're going to lift up to Anjaneyasana, arms up over your head. If you're a beginner and this is quite a challenging practice for you, then by all means, use your knee to help you to come up. Be there for a moment. You can even keep the hands on the hips. When you're there, each inhalation, you lift up the chest, you reach the arms up tall. You can look back. Each exhalation, ground the shin down, keep the buttock flesh down. From here, on an exhalation, take your hands down on either side of the foot, and then turning the back toes under, step to Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll go straight to the left side here, or take a rest if you need. Left foot forward into the lunge. Once again, stretch that right leg, place the right knee down, turn the toes under. So the shin, the knee is the foot of the pose. Once you ground down there and the buttocks are down, inhale, reach the arms up. Each time you exhale, you want to keep the buttocks dropping down. Each time you inhale, You're stretching the arms up, you're extending into Anjaneyasana. From here, release the hands down. Step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a moment here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you feel ready, place your knees to the floor, knees wide, toes together, coming to Adho Mukha Virasana. So Adho Mukha Virasana, we've done Adho Mukha Virasana and Virasana on the knees. And now we're coming to Parigasana. Parigasana is also a pose done on the knees. So if you wouldn't mind facing forward, you're taking your knees together in the middle of the mat. And again, if you need a blanket, if you need some softness for your knees, absolutely take a blanket for support. Coming to kneeling on the blanket, have your whole knee to the toes on the blanket. So all the way forward. And you lift up your buttocks. From here, you're going to bring the right leg into a 90-degree angle. Right leg into a 90-degree angle. First start at 90. So the 90-degree angle just gives you something to work onto that Baddha Konasana action of the legs. Here, you want to hold this knee back and you want to turn and face your body forward. So already start to encourage this right buttock to come in. Then when you're ready, you'll extend the right leg along the floor. You don't need to have the foot flat on the floor. You can turn the toes in slightly. That's far kinder. When you're ready, you're going to extend the right arm up to the ceiling, trying to maintain this length. Work the leg strongly and lay yourself over that right leg. The left hand can stay in the waist. If you're able to, the left arm comes up and over. You want to lay yourself over that right leg. Keep breathing. Keep the left shin firm. And when you're ready, using the breath, using the buoyancy of the inhalation, lift yourself to come up. Bring the foot back next to the other. When you're ready, 90-degree with that left leg. Use the left hand just to encourage that knee to stay back as you bring the left buttock in. You want to keep this right hip bone over the right knee, so keep that thigh perpendicular to the floor. When you're ready, extending that left leg, extend the left arm up, get that full length, and off you go. Keep that left leg strong. You'll notice Marianne's not resting her hand on the calf. You press the back of your hand, and using the back of that left hand, you open yourself up. Keep pressing into that right shin. When you've been there for a few breaths, take a nice full breath in to help lift you up. Bring your legs back together, and you can sit in Vajrasana and just rest. Trikonasana is the triangle pose, and in Trikonasana, you want to do the exact same thing as you do in Parigasana. You want to lie yourself up over, align yourself over your right leg. So it means the buttock has to stay in. You're not letting the buttock stick out and your chest come forward. So we'll begin our pose in Tadasana. Stand in the middle of your mat. If you're able to take the feet together, you do. Otherwise, perfectly acceptable to do Tadasana with the feet apart. In Tadasana, focus on gripping the thigh muscles to the bone. Lift the abdominal region as you extend the spine, and then also hug the arm muscles to the bone. And as you engage the arm muscles, you'll see the elbows lock. You extend the hands at your sides. You don't need to touch the legs, just extending the fingers, opening the chest. To come into Tadasana, you either step or jump the feet apart. So bringing your fingertips to the chest. On an inhalation, a nice big jump, taking the feet apart. And we're going to come to Trikonasana to the right. The whole right leg turns exactly like you had in Parigasana. We have to bring that right buttock in. The left thigh has to resist back, and with strong arms, extend this right side of the body, align it over the right leg. And as you go, don't overstretch one arm or the other. In Trikonasana, classic Trikonasana, the hand is resting, and you want to extend the left arm up to the ceiling. You want to keep the chest lifted, the back of the neck is long. Make sure the legs are both working strongly. So although you're coming to the right side, be with that left leg, strong legs, long spine. And on an inhalation, use that buoyancy of the inhalation to lift you up. Turn the right foot to face forward. Returning, you can rest your hands on your hips at any point in time. Turning the left foot all the way, the right toes turn in slightly. And you're not just turning the foot, you're turning the knee, you're turning the whole thigh. Maintain this extension of the side of the body. So don't overextend as you go over, like an airplane crashing, off you go. Extend the right side of the body. Keep the left side of the body long and move the right thigh back. You want to get length on that left side of the body. So the right ribs have to quieten into the body and that left leg is working strongly. Each breath in, you extend the spine, open the chest. Each breath out, you ground into the feet, work the legs. When you've been here for a few breaths, you're going to inhale and stretch that right arm to come up, turn the feet and bring the feet together. Either step them or jump them together into Tadasana. Now, we're coming to do Prasarita Padottanasana. Prasarita Padottanasana requires some flexibility. If you're able to get your fingertips to the floor, then all good. If you're able to extend yourself further in and kiss the dog, then even better. So use your bricks if you need them. Otherwise, no support necessary. Again, from Tadasana, you want to make sure that your legs are strong, your spine is long, and when you bring your fingertips to the chest, use that inhalation to step the feet apart and taking the hands on the hips. Classically, we would take the hands just straight up to the floor or into Namaskarasana. Here, lift up your chest. You can look up slightly, maintain that extension of the front body, keep the legs strong as you come down, take your hands to the floor. And if you have the flexibility to walk the hands back in line with the feet, great. If you can, you want to descend the sacrum, extend the spine, and stretch your head towards the floor. Obviously, the wider you take the legs, the easier it's going to be to get to the floor. However, you don't want a very round back. You want this beautiful length on both sides of the body. Remember when you're here to keep breathing. Elbows come in line with the shoulders. Legs are strong and firm. As much as you're lifting the buttock bones and extending the hamstrings, you want to get the sacrum to dive into the body. So Prasarita Padottanasana is a wonderful practice, especially if you're not yet doing Shirshasana, the head balance. This is a really great go-to pose. When you're ready to come up, you again want to engage the legs, bring your hands under your shoulders, and with strong legs, extend the spine and come up. You can walk your feet in. You don't have to jump the feet together, coming back to Tadasana. Tadasana is your pose that you go into your standing poses from Tadasana. You come out of your standing poses back to Tadasana. And the seated equivalent would be Dandasana. Dandasana, you're going to sit with your legs extended out in front of you. You can sit facing there. And if you're unable to get this lift of the sacrum and be on the buttock bones, if your spine sort of sags and you don't have the capacity, then you'll absolutely take some blankets to sit onto so that you prop yourself up. In classic Dandasana, the hands are at your sides. If your arms are too long, you need to stretch your spine. If your arms are too short, you need to stretch your arms. Firm up the thighs. So you're not just gripping the knees, you want to feel that the thigh muscles are working strongly also. Now we're not going to go straight into the classic Gomukhasana. We're going to do Gomukhasana the easy way. So bending up your knees, you're going to take your right leg underneath and post your left leg on top. And once you're in this position, this is the side that's going to massively stretch, right? Your left leg is at the bottom. If your left leg is at the bottom, your left side of the body is going to be long. So you're going to stretch the left arm up. And then you're bringing your hand in between your two shoulder blades. Now the right arm goes out to the side and you're going to sweep it underneath and see, can you grab your left arm? This left elbow comes up. And you'll notice that the left side is so massively stretched comparative to the right. So you have to lift that right shoulder, lift that right side of the body. Keep breathing, lift your gaze. It helps to lift the chest also. When you've been there for a few breaths, you'll release the arms, release the legs, and extend them back into Dandasana. Then we're going to cross the legs the other way. From here, it's the right leg that's underneath. So the right arm goes up and in between your two shoulder blades. The left arm, sweep it underneath. See if you can grab hold of your fingers. It's absolutely normal for the shoulder to come forward when you're setting into position. Now you want to lift that shoulder back to lengthen the left side of the body. So if you look at your chest, you should make the girls parallel. Yes. And when you've been there for a few breaths, quietness in the hips, release the hands, extend the legs back to Dandasana. Just allow there to be a quietness in the knees and the hips here. So we're going to play a little bit now with Gomukhasana and also Prasarita Padottanasana. Right, you can face me. You're going to come to Gomukhasana. Yep. You're going to come to Gomukhasana, right leg underneath, left leg on top. So come to your Gomukhasana pose. And you're going to go with the leg that's on top. So your left leg is on top. You're going to take your left foot, start to ground it. You're going to take your hands on either side, come through like a Pajvottanasana, and then you're going to spin around, spin around, spin around, spin around, and sit yourself back into Gomukhasana. So let's give that a bash. Going to the leg that's on top, take your hands on either side, ground the feet, straighten up, Pajvottanasana. Roll around through like a short Prasarita Padottanasana or Uttanasana. And then you're going to roll to the other leg. From this Pajvottanasana, descend the buttocks down, bend the knees, and work your way back to Gomukhasana. Ta-da! So to make it a little bit stick in your head, we'll try it again. So the leg that's on top, both hands come to that foot. And then up you come through Pajvottanasana, turning through Prasarita Padottanasana, turning back to Pajvottanasana over the left leg. And now as you sit the buttocks down, you bend the knees, you cross the legs back to Gomukhasana. So they do end up wider than the classic Gomukhasana, but it's just a nice, fun way of doing it. So classic Gomukhasana is a little bit more tricky, where you are sitting on, you need to get the legs quite compact. You need to maneuver your legs around, and you're sitting on that buttock bone, the buttock bone on that heel, which isn't very kind and manageable for many of us. Extend the legs now, come to Dandasana. Just allowing the knees to be soft so you don't have to work the legs too hard here. Just relaxing the hips and the knees after that Gomukhasana work. And then we're going to finish off in a Shavasana. Right. So when you're coming to Shavasana, Shavasana is also a yoga pose. You want to make sure that you are aligned. So have a blanket to support your head that is a little bit comfortable and just nicer. The blanket supports your head and your neck. Make sure that it's nicely folded. And you're going to begin with your feet, your knees bent. Knees bent is fine. So you're going to lie down and get this blanket underneath just the shoulder, the neck and the head, not underneath the shoulders. With the knees bent, you can, if you have a regular small mat, you can hold onto the edges of the mat and really roll the shoulders down, get the flesh of the trapezius to come down. Or you can also just bend your elbows with the palms facing each other, get that adjustment in the shoulders. Then make sure that the lumbar spine is long. You'll notice Marianne did a bit of a pelvic tilt. That works. You can also use your hands to glide the buttock flesh down. And the buttock flesh moves left to left, right to right. So there's a spread to the outer corner of the buttocks. When you're assured that you're in an absolutely straight line, you're going to extend your legs into Shavasana. The feet are going to flop out naturally to the sides. You want to make sure that the palms are facing up in a gesture of receiving. And And you didn't do too many challenging poses today, but as you close your eyes and lay there, just feel the sensations of your practice on your body. Feel how your breath feels, what your mind feels like. Take a moment here just to feel gratitude for the health and strength of your body. Each inhalation is taken in with a sense of gratitude. Each exhalation, you're letting go with a small smile on your face. And again, that thanks for the health and strength of your body. You can be in Shavasana for as long as you want or need. When you feel ready, that your body is recovered from your practice, bring your hands onto your abdomen. Just let the elbows settle on the floor. Wherever the hands reach, connect with your breath. On the next breath in, you're going to stretch your arms over your head. Give your body a long, deep stretch. You'll yawn or sigh the breath out. Then bending the knees, you're going to roll onto your right side. Let your head be cradled in your right arm so you're in this fetal position. Left side of the body is just holding you in this quiet Shavasana state. When you feel ready, bring the head up last. You're going to use your left hand to help you to come up. Work your way into a seated position. Once you're seated, spine tall, chest lifted, bring the hands again in the prayer position. Close your eyes again and just focus on your breath, on your body. When you feel ready, let the eyes gently flutter open and focus. Namaste. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Marianne. See you next time.